Good morning, children, and happy Sabbath. Did you enjoy the story today about the little girl that was raised from the dead? Isn't it wonderful that we have a God that is that powerful and that caring? No matter what happens in this life, He has promised to you and to me true healing and a life that will last for eternity with Himself and with our loved ones, all together, if we only choose to call on Him and follow Him. Our memory verse today is found in John chapter 10, verse 28, and it says, I give them eternal life, and they will never perish, and no one will snatch them out of my hand. Let us pray. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for looking after us and keeping us safe this week again. As we learn more about you, please help us to share what we've learned with others. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hello, children.
Hello, children.
So today I'm here with my dear friend Alan.
Yeah.
And we're going to sing a song for you and hopefully with you that's called God's Love is So Wonderful. Now you may know the song, and if you do, sing right along. If you don't, I'm pretty sure you're going to learn it very quickly as we're going to sing it a couple times through. So join in whenever you can and sing for the Lord.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
God's love is so wonderful. God's love is so wonderful. God's love is so wonderful. Oh, wonderful love. So I can get over it. So low can get under it. So wide can get round it. Oh, wonderful love.
I'm going to sing it one more time.
God's love, it's so wonderful. God's love, it's so wonderful. God's love, it's so wonderful. So wonderful love. So I can get over it. So low can get under it. So wide can get round it. Oh, wonderful love. God's love is so wonderful. God's love is so wonderful. God's love is so wonderful. So wonderful love. And it's so wonderful love. Oh, wonderful love.
For our craft today, we're going to make a Mother's Day card for your mom. And inside the card, there is a little surprise. When you open it up, there is a beautiful bouquet of flowers. In this case, it's heart-shaped flowers. And I hope you're really excited about making this craft for your mother. For your craft today, you're going to need some colored paper, scissors, a ruler, some paper glue, a pencil, and potentially some colors, some markers. I'm not going to use them, but you might want to have them on standby. All right, let's get started. We're going to begin with the front and the top of your card. For that, I'm going to use two different colors. Feel free to choose whichever ones you like. So I'm going to use this kind of off yellow on the outside of the card and the white one on the inside. Now, whatever you use on the inside, It would be helpful if it was a little bit thicker. I'm using mostly cardstock, but any paper will do really. But if whatever you use on the inside of the card will be a little bit thicker, it will be helpful. So what we're going to do is fold the inside of the paper in half. In fact, you need to do that with both of the sheets, the inside and the outside of the card. Just fold it in half. And we're going to trim a little bit the inside of the card, which is, for me, it's the white paper. So we're gonna trim that so that we can see the edges, nice yellow edges inside the card. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and grab the scissors. And if you need to, grab a ruler and draw a line, so you can quite simply help yourself with that. But I'm thinking, because we need some space from the top and the bottom, so I'm gonna make a little bit wider cut off here. Oops. Okay, that's why it's good to have a ruler. That way you get your line exactly straight. And I give it another go. Just hold on to it more tightly. Right? And I'm gonna cut a little bit less on the edge here because both edges are getting cut off. So half of what I cut there, just to give a nice little trim edge so we can see the construction paper from the bottom, so you have a couple different colors there. And again, you probably might wanna use the ruler to make the lines a bit straighter, but this will work for me. So this is where it's gonna go. So I have a nice little edge all around it. When the card opens up, I have a nice little yellow, and the center is gonna be white. Now we're gonna put this yellow one just aside for a little bit and work with the center that's gonna be inside the card. You will also need your ruler and your pencil at this point in time. And we're gonna be measuring and making little marks on the folder of the inside of the card, the folded center line. And so I'm gonna be using inches, and I put a ruler against the center fold of the card and make a mark at 1 inch, then at 2.5 inches, then at 5 inches, then 5.5, and 6. So you have 1, 2.5, 5, 5.5, and 6. You have a total of 5 markers on the page. Now turn the page towards yourself, and we're going to be drawing a 90-degree or parallel to the bottom of the card lines. Now on the bottom marker, you want to draw a line that is 1 inch across, just 1 inch across. Very faint, you don't need very strong. You're going to be cutting into those lines, so this is just to see where to cut. Then at the 2.5 inches, the next marker up, you want to again make it parallel to the bottom, and or actually you don't need to draw anything here, apologize. You just need that little marker there. And then, so you skip the second one and go to the top 3 ones. And I want you to draw parallel lines there, that the first one is going to be 2 inches long. So it's gonna be the longest one. The next one parallel to that, just 1/2 inch higher, is gonna be 1.5 inches. And then this next one, again, just 1/2 inch higher, parallel to this one, is going to be 1 inch wide. So there it is. I hope you can see it on your screen clearly. So you have 1 inch wide here. You skip this one, then you have 2 inches, 1.5, and 1. Okay. And what we will do now, we're going to go ahead, grab our scissors, and cut in exactly as you drew a line. So 1 inch here, 2 inches here, 1.5, and 1. Okay. And at this point, what we want to do, we're going to make some folds. So I want you to go again to the very bottom cutting that you have and put your finger or your nail onto the next marker that you have
and that's where you're gonna be folding. So you're gonna fold in from the corner where you cut in to that marker halfway through the page. So fold it in like that. Then grab this next line, and again from the edge all the way to that same dot. Okay, so to that marker. So it's gonna look something like that. You might make a little bit of adjustment as you do to make sure that you fold it like that. Okay, then you take the other lines and you're gonna fold them more or less parallel with this line right here. And again, ask your mom or dad to help you. So parallel, that means line goes in the same exact direction as the other line. So I'm gonna fold it like that. And this one, I'm gonna fold like this, okay? So you have this kind of fold. I hope that makes sense. Again, if you need to, you can rewind and see how I fold it. But there it is, I have a fold out. Now, just straighten back out. We'll just need these folding lines and open the page in the middle, and you will see this kind of shape, right? And what we want to do now is push everything, from the outside into the middle. So I'm gonna kind of push it with my fingers there, and I want to create all of these lines and all of these folds, folding it into the middle of the page. So that means just carefully, nicely, I'm gonna do this kind of like, creasing the paper into the inside of the card. Again, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Just kind of make those creases move in the direction where I need them to move. A little bit of here. So these will have to be adjusted. Actually, never mind. Exactly as the creases were. And then just fold it in to kind of secure the direction of the fold. And then unfold it. Whoops, so that one didn't go where it needed to go. Just push it in a little bit. And there we go. So we secure the direction of the fold. And we open up and it looks like that. I hope you got this. When we're gonna grab the paper that we're gonna use on the outside and we're gonna glue it in, that's when you get this really nice shape with a little bit of yellow in the background. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do now. I'm just gonna get some glue and I'm gonna put some glue all around here just to glue it to the bottom. Of course, I'm not gonna put glue on the parts that are rising out into the middle of the card. Maybe if you have liquid glue, that would be a little bit easier to handle. But other than that, really any glue is gonna do as long as it sticks the two pages together well enough to hold it. Okay. All right, so here is my glued paper, and when I unfold it, I have this beautiful little center bouquet where I'm gonna put the flowers. Now we're gonna kind of put this aside for a minute, and we're gonna grab our other colored papers that we have. Now we're gonna create a bouquet of, you can choose what you want to do, flowers or balloons, or you could even spell out words like love, whatever you might want to do. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make some hearts, and I'm going to use 3 different colors to create the hearts. And I'll also create some foliage, so some green leaves for the bouquet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab the green paper first. And remember the measurements that we did when we're cutting this out. So we're gonna use the same type of measurements again. So for the first line at the top, we cut in 2 inches. So, but we folded it, so we'll need at least 4 inches. And what I'm going to do, I'm gonna cut a rectangle that will be 4.5 inches wide. So to give myself some space, so the foliage is gonna be coming out of the edges. So 4.5 inches wide. So I'm gonna put a marker here, and we'll make it right about 2.5 inches tall. Okay, so 2.5 inches tall. And this time I'm not gonna eye it. I am actually gonna measure, draw lines, and cut based on that. Okay. And then after this, 4.5 and 2.5 inches, I'm going to also make the other two. So for each one of these hairs in here, we're gonna make some foliage. And so the second one was 1.5 inches, which is double 3 inches. So I'm gonna do a 3.5 inches. So I'm gonna go right off the back of this, and I'm gonna measure where 3.5 inches come. And again, I'm gonna measure 2.5 inches tall, okay? So we're gonna make another box, square box, or rectangular rather box, that is 3.5 inches long or wide, and height will be again 2.5 inches. And the last one was at the top, and we drew 1 inch, which means 2 inches, and we're gonna add half additionally just for so the foliage comes out a little bit more. And I'm gonna do 2.5 here. So the last one is really going to be square, 2.5 and 2.5. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but this is just to give you an idea, and you can be creative and do it really any way you want. But you're gonna see what I do with it, and it'll give you a chance to figure out how you wanna do your foliage. So what I'll do now, I'm gonna go ahead and cut these out, and then I'm gonna create a little bit of spiky grass on each and one of them. So I'm gonna fast forward on that, and literally what you wanna do, you create some grass on each one of them with your scissors. So go ahead and watch what I do, and then do it on your own. So here is my foliage that I'm going to use in the middle of the card. And what I want to do now, you want to kind of fold them in half just to give yourself a bit of a mark in the middle. And we're going to glue them just on the bottom right there. Just lower them inside and glue them into the card itself. So do it with all 3 of them. Just fold them in the middle and kind of tuck them in. So you're gonna put a little bit of glue, and you're gonna kind of stick it inside and glue it to the edges, and do it with all 3 of them. All right, so here it is, my card with a beautiful green foliage. And now what we need to do is just add some flowers, or in my case, I'm gonna make hearts instead of the flowers, but it's up to you what you wanna put inside. So for that, I'm gonna use these 3 colors of paper. And what I'll do, I'll go ahead and draw the size of it. So roughly 1 inch to 1.5 inches. So you don't want it too small, you don't want it too big. Whatever you think would look good on your card. I think right about this size is gonna be perfect to what I want. And what I'll do, I'll actually create 3 different colors, maybe 3 or 4 or even 5 of each color of the hearts. You can create flowers, you can be as creative as you want. So go ahead and use whatever colors you want, and draw and cut out the flowers, or in my case, the hearts that you want to use. So I'll fast forward on that as well. So there are my hearts. You could have had your flowers. You can be as elaborate and creative with it or as simple as you would like. It'll look pretty either way. And what we're gonna do now, we're gonna go ahead and glue them onto the foliage. So grab your glue stick and just dab a little bit of glue on the back of your heart and just pop it wherever you might want. Feel free to pop it on the bottom of the basket or this, I guess, flower bouquet holder if you like. Actually, I'm gonna start more from the back of the card just to, I suppose, and be careful not to put too much glue so it doesn't stick to something where it doesn't need to stick. So maybe you might want to put a little bit of glue onto your foliage and then stick the heart onto it just to make sure that there's not too much glue and it doesn't stick where it shouldn't. Okay, so I'm gonna use the yellow one there, like this. Okay, and then I'm gonna use another one here at the tip of the blade. I just like it there. So I'm gonna put actually another, maybe red in there as well. So you can play around with colors, whatever you think looks pretty and matches well. Okay, so there's that. And then just go ahead and literally add your flowers or your hearts, if you're doing exactly as I'm doing, right where you want them to be. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it on fast forward again so that it'll give you a chance to do it your way. So here is my bouquet of flowers, and it's really beautiful because when you open it, it just pops at you because it has so many layers. I hope yours looks as good or better than mine, and I hope you really enjoyed doing that part. Now this looks already great, but we're gonna finish it up a little bit. So for that, you can actually, if you have colors, you can color in the paper itself. You can be as creative as you want. You could actually cut out some strips of paper and glue it onto it, which I think I'm going to do. Just glue a few, or you can leave it as that. The only thing that I want to do is in this part here where the paper kind of is held for the bouquet, we're gonna create a little ribbon. And for that, again, pick whichever color you want to use for the ribbon. Now I'm going to go ahead and use red color just because this is a nice bright pop of color. And for that, what I'm going to do, I'm gonna create a bow here and like a little string. Now for a bow, I'm gonna measure how far I want the bow to go. So I think I want it to be about like this. So I'm gonna measure myself about this much, and I want it to be about this wide. So there you go. I'm gonna measure this and I'm gonna cut it for myself. Right, again, another rectangular that is the size, roughly the size of the bow that I want to have. So that looks about right size-wise. And I'm gonna fold it in half so that I can cut it, evenly on both sides. And I'm gonna create a little bit of a bow like this. That's what I want. Okay, so kind of like a teardrop. You can create a hard drop or anything you want. So, but this is how I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna cut it like this. I'm gonna cut the teardrop, but again, don't cut off the middle because that's where center fold is, and that's where you want it to be connected. So I'm gonna cut out so the center is still connecting like that, okay? And now we're not gonna make such a thick one. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut in the middle. I'm gonna cut out another little bow, and I'm gonna use the inside of the bow as the bow. There we go. So this is how it's gonna look. And you can, if you would like, you can glue it all the way to it, or you can glue a little bit at the edge and leave it loose. It's up to you. If you leave it loose, you can raise it up a little bit later, so it just creates a little bit more of a 3D effect. So what I'll do now is just put a little bit of glue. In fact, you don't have to do it because it's on the inside, but I'm gonna erase the pencil marks off the bow. And I'm gonna put some glue right in the center and a little bit off of it, just to make it stick better. And I'm gonna kind of bring it in together so you'll get a little bit of that, you know, bulge on the outside, and it creates another 3D effect. So just like that. And now we just need a ribbon. So again, I'm gonna grab the same one, and I'm the same color paper, and I'm gonna simply cut out a strip. So like about the width of this. So I'm gonna cut a strip like that. Whoops, that's more than enough. And I'm just gonna cut it like that. Now the endings, we can adjust them in a second. So go ahead and fold this paper in half, yes? And then see how far do you want this to go. I actually want it to be maybe a little bit shorter. So I'm gonna cut them at an angle, just a little bit shorter, okay? So I'm gonna cut it like that. And that looks good. That's what I want. In fact, I'm gonna make this one a little bit shorter even. Just see what you like, what it looks like good to you. And again, put some glue and glue it to the bow here. There we go. So there is my bow. Okay, just make sure the glue sticks well. You're gonna have to have the fold in there. Okay, there it is. So again, you can make whatever you want here. And I'm probably going to make a few yellow lines or leave it like that. I will see. And what I want to do now, the last thing but not least, is we want to decorate the top of the card. And this one, again, I'm going to leave it up to you. You can write out a message here. You can obviously write out a message inside. You can decorate whatever you want. You can put some more hearts on the sides. I think that would be really pretty if you put little hearts on the outside of the paper. So maybe you might want to do that. Just put a couple hearts here, one here. It's up to you really. And for myself here, I'm gonna just write out or cut out and put down mom, and I'm gonna cut out some hearts. So I'm gonna show you how I've done it. So I've already cut a heart from the red paper, but I don't want this big, solid heart. Instead, I want to create a bit of a illusion, kind of like I did with the bow here. So I'm gonna cut this out on the edges. I'm gonna cut out the heart on the edges like that, maybe once or twice, and see what looks better, and arrange it at the front. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and decorate or write out whatever you want at the card. You can say, I love you, mom, or whatever you would like. And I will do mine on a fast forward, and then we can come back and see the final result. And I just make sure that the glue dries first. So go ahead and do the front of your card and whatever else you want to decorate it. So here is my card. This is how I did mine. I wonder how you did yours. So if you want to take a picture and share with us, that would be great. And inside, it's a beautiful bouquet when it opens up. I added a couple little hearts. And feel free to write a message inside. So maybe your mom even helped you to make the card. That is even more beautiful. And just go ahead and write a message. Tell your mom how much you love her and what you appreciate her for, and give it to her on Mother's Day this weekend. I hope you enjoyed this one. Have a lovely rest of the day. Take care. Hello, boys and girls. We're going to sing a song together right now that I suspect you might know very well. The song is called He's Got the Whole World in His Hand. Now, I'm going to need your help with it because I'm going to be playing and singing at the same time. So I won't have a lot of hands left to do all the signs that go along with the song. So I'm going to ask you, your brother, your sister, your mom, dad, grandpa, grandma, anybody that's in the house to come together, sing together, and show the signs as you sing. And just in case you don't know, here's a little tip. So he's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the wind and the rain in his hands. He's got the twinkling stars in his hands. He's got the tiny little baby, and we're gonna sing gently here, in his hands. And then he's got you and me in his hands because he has the whole world in his hands. Ready? Let's sing together and enjoy. He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 He's got the wind. The tiny little baby in his hands. He's got the tiny little